Hello, beautiful soul. I'm so grateful you're here with me today. There's something so precious about this moment we're sharing together, and I want you to know that your presence here tells me something wonderful about you. It tells me that deep in your heart, you're ready for something different. You're ready for a shift, a change, a new way of being in this world. I know that life can feel heavy sometimes. I know there are days when it seems like everything is going wrong, when the world feels harsh and unfair, and when you find yourself speaking about all the things that aren't working in your life. This is so natural, so human, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with you for feeling this way. We've all been there, myself included. You see, when we come into this world, we're like little sponges absorbing everything around us. We learn how to think, how to speak, how to react to life by watching and listening to others. And if the people around us were in the habit of focusing on what's wrong, on what's missing, on what's not working, then we naturally learn to do the same. It wasn't our fault. It was simply what we knew. But here's the beautiful truth that I want to share with you today. Just because we learn something doesn't mean we have to keep it forever. We have the power to unlearn old patterns and create new ones. We have the ability to choose different thoughts, different words, different ways of responding to life. And that choice, dear one, is available to you right now, in this very moment. I want you to take a deep breath with me. Feel the air filling your lungs. Feel your body relaxing just a little bit. Good. Now, as you exhale, let yourself release any judgment you might have about yourself or your patterns of thinking and speaking. We're not here to criticize or blame ourselves. We're here to love ourselves forward into something better. Today, we're going to explore something together that might feel a little uncomfortable at first, but I promise you, it's going to be so worth it. We're going to look at how complaining might be affecting your life in ways you haven't even realized. And more importantly, we're going to discover together how you can transform this pattern into something that serves your highest good. I want you to know that I see you. I see your beautiful heart that wants to feel joy and peace. I see your spirit that longs to create and express and love freely. And I see your courage in being here, ready to look at something that might need some gentle healing. You are so brave, and I honor that bravery. This journey we're taking together isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about choosing love over fear, possibility over limitation, and hope over despair. And every small step you take in this direction is a victory worth celebrating. Now let's begin this beautiful exploration together. Let's start by understanding how this pattern of complaining might have become such a normal part of our daily experience that we don't even notice it anymore. When we really start to pay attention to the way we speak and think throughout our day, something interesting begins to happen. We might notice that complaining has become as automatic as breathing. It's woven into our conversations, our thoughts, even our prayers sometimes. And this didn't happen overnight. This pattern developed slowly, gradually, over many years. Think about how we often greet each other. Someone says, "How are you?" And so often the response begins with something that's wrong. "I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I can't believe what happened at work," or "the weather is terrible." We've somehow learned that connecting with others means sharing what's bothering us. And in many ways, this makes perfect sense. When we share our struggles, we feel heard and understood. There's comfort in knowing that someone else gets what we're going through. Expressing our feelings and challenges is actually healthy and necessary. But there's a difference between healthy expression and chronic complaining, and this difference is so important to understand. Healthy expression is when we share our feelings to process them, to seek support, or to problem solve. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. We talk about what's bothering us, we feel heard, and then we move forward. Chronic complaining, on the other hand, is when we get stuck in a loop of focusing on problems without any intention of finding solutions or moving through the emotions. Chronic complaining often sounds like this. This always happens to me. Nothing ever goes right. People are so inconsiderate. The world is falling apart. I can't catch a break. Or life is so unfair. These statements don't invite solution or growth. They actually reinforce a sense of powerlessness and victimhood. Our minds are incredibly powerful, and they're always looking for evidence to support what we believe. If we're constantly focused on what's wrong, our minds become like detectives, searching for more proof that life is difficult, that people are problematic, that circumstances are against us. And sadly, we'll find exactly what we're looking for because that's where we're putting our attention. This pattern often starts innocently enough. Maybe we grew up in an environment where discussing problems was the main form of conversation. Maybe we learned that we received attention and sympathy when we shared what was wrong. Maybe we discovered that complaining gave us a sense of connection with others who were also struggling. Or perhaps we learned that focusing on problems felt like a way to stay prepared for disappointment. But here's what happens when complaining becomes our default mode. We begin to train our brains to notice and focus on what's wrong in every situation. We become experts at finding the flaw, spotting the problem, identifying what's missing or broken. And while this might feel like we're being realistic or protecting ourselves, we're actually creating more of what we don't want in our lives. The mind doesn't distinguish between what we want and what we don't want. It simply responds to where we place our attention. When we consistently focus on problems, we're essentially placing an order with the universe for more problems. When we repeatedly talk about lack, we're inviting more experiences of scarcity. When we constantly point out what's wrong with people, we start to see wrongness everywhere we look. And the most heartbreaking part of this pattern is that it slowly erodes our capacity for joy, gratitude, and wonder. When we're habitually focused on complaints, we miss the beauty that's constantly surrounding us. We overlook the kindness of strangers, the gift of our health, the miracle of our bodies, the love that's available to us in countless ways every single day. This doesn't mean we should ignore real problems or pretend everything is perfect when it's not. It means we can learn to address challenges from a place of empowerment rather than victimhood. We can express our feelings without getting stuck in them. We can seek solutions instead of just highlighting problems. The beautiful news is that once we become aware of this pattern, we can begin to change it. Awareness is always the first step toward transformation. And the fact that you're here, listening to this, tells me that you're already beginning to wake up to new possibilities for your life. Now, let's explore together what this pattern of complaining might actually be costing you, because when we truly understand the price we're paying, we become much more motivated to choose something different. Every word we speak carries energy. Every thought we think creates a vibration that ripples out into our experience and attracts similar energy back to us. This isn't just spiritual philosophy. This is how life works. When we consistently speak and think in ways that focus on problems, lack, and dissatisfaction, we're literally broadcasting that energy into the world and inviting more of the same into our lives. Think of your words and thoughts as seeds that you're planting in the garden of your life. When you plant seeds of complaint, you grow gardens full of things to complain about. When you plant seeds of gratitude and possibility, you grow experiences that bring you joy and fulfillment. It really is that simple, though it's not always easy to change long-standing patterns. Let's look at what happens in your body when you engage in chronic complaining. Your body doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. When you focus on problems and speak about things that frustrate or upset you, Your body responds as if those problems are immediate dangers. Your stress hormones increase, your muscles tense, your breathing becomes shallow, and your nervous system goes into a state of alert. Over time, chronic complaining keeps your body in a constant state of low-level stress. This affects everything: your immune system, your digestion, your sleep, your energy levels, and even your ability to think clearly and creatively. Your body is literally paying the price for the negative focus of your mind. But the impact goes far beyond your physical health. Chronic complaining affects the quality of your relationships in profound ways. People naturally want to be around positive, uplifting energy. When someone is consistently focused on problems and complaints, it can be draining for others to be around them. This doesn't make you a bad person. It just means you're unknowingly pushing away the very connections and support you probably desire. Think about the people in your life who always seem to have something to complain about. How do you feel when you spend time with them? Probably tired, heavy, or maybe even anxious. You might find yourself avoiding their calls or limiting your time with them, not because you don't care about them, but because their energy feels overwhelming. On the flip side, think about people who have a generally positive outlook, who can acknowledge challenges without getting stuck in them, who look for solutions and silver linings. How do you feel around these people? Probably lighter, more hopeful, more inspired. These are the people we naturally want to spend more time with. When we're chronically complaining, we're unknowingly training the people around us to either avoid us or to join us in focusing on problems. We create what I call complaint circles, where conversations become competitions about who has it worse or who can identify the most problems. These interactions leave everyone feeling more drained and discouraged than before. Your career and financial life are also deeply affected by chronic complaining. When you're focused on what's wrong with your job, your boss, your coworkers, or your industry, you're closing yourself off to opportunities for growth, advancement, and positive change. You're also creating an energy that repels abundance and attracts more experiences of struggle and dissatisfaction. Employers want to work with people who bring solutions, not just problems. They want team members who can see possibilities and contribute to positive workplace culture. When you're known as someone who complains frequently, you're less likely to be considered for promotions, special projects, or leadership roles. But perhaps most importantly, chronic complaining affects your relationship with yourself. When you're constantly focused on what's wrong in your life, you're reinforcing a story that you're a victim of circumstances, that life is happening to you rather than through you. This erodes your sense of personal power and your belief in your ability to create positive change. You begin to identify yourself as someone who has problems rather than someone who finds solutions. You start to believe that your worth comes from your struggles rather than your strengths. You lose touch with your natural ability to create, to manifest, to transform challenges into opportunities. The energy of chronic complaining also blocks your intuition and creativity. When your mind is constantly focused on problems, there's no space for inspiration, innovation, or divine guidance to come through. You miss opportunities because you're not vibrating at the frequency where those opportunities exist. This pattern also affects your ability to attract and maintain loving relationships. Love and complaint cannot coexist in the same space. When you're focused on what's wrong with people, you miss seeing what's beautiful and wonderful about them. You create walls instead of bridges, and you attract people who are also stuck in patterns of negativity and complaint. But here's the most important thing to understand. None of this is permanent. Every moment offers you a fresh opportunity to choose different thoughts, speak different words, and create different experiences. The patterns that have been running your life don't have to continue running your life. You have the power to choose something new, something better, something that serves your highest good. The first step in creating any lasting change is becoming aware of exactly what we want to change. So often we know something doesn't feel right, but we haven't taken the time to really look at the specific ways this pattern shows up in our daily lives. Today, we're going to do some gentle detective work together, not to judge ourselves, but to love ourselves enough to see clearly what we want to transform. Complaining tends to show up in specific areas of our lives, and these areas often reveal where we feel most powerless or where we're carrying the deepest wounds. Let's look at these areas with compassion and curiosity, because each complaint is actually a messenger bringing us information about what needs our love and attention. One of the most common places where complaining shows up is in our work life. Listen to how you speak about your job, your boss, your coworkers, or your career. Do you hear yourself saying things like, "My boss doesn't appreciate me. This job is so stressful. My coworkers are lazy. I'm not paid enough," or "This company doesn't care about its employees"? If so, you're not alone. Work complaints are so common in our society that they've become a normal part of social conversation. But underneath these work-related complaints, there's usually something deeper going on. Maybe you're feeling undervalued and need to learn how to value yourself more. Maybe you're in a job that doesn't align with your true purpose, and your soul is calling you towards something different. Maybe you're afraid to ask for what you want, so you complain instead of taking action. Each complaint carries a message about what you truly desire. Relationship complaints are another area where we often get stuck. You might hear yourself saying, "My partner never listens. My family doesn't understand me. People are so selfish. I can't find good friends," or "Everyone disappoints me." These complaints often reveal our deepest fears about love, connection, and worthiness. They might be showing us where we need to heal old wounds, set healthier boundaries, or learn to love ourselves more fully. Health complaints are particularly interesting because they often reflect the state of our inner world. When we constantly talk about being tired, stressed, sick, or in pain, we're often expressing deeper feelings of overwhelm, lack of self-care, or emotional burdens we're carrying. Our bodies are wise messengers, and sometimes our health complaints are trying to tell us that we need to slow down, ask for help, or address something that's out of balance in our lives. Money complaints reveal so much about our relationship with abundance, security, and self-worth. Listen to how you speak about money. Do you hear yourself saying, "I can't afford it. Money is tight. Rich people are greedy. There's never enough," or "I'm terrible with money"? These statements aren't just about your bank account. They're about your beliefs about what you deserve, your fear of scarcity, and your relationship with receiving good things in life. But here's what I want you to understand. Every single one of these complaints is also pointing toward what you truly want. When you complain about not feeling appreciated at work, you're revealing that appreciation matters to you. When you complain about feeling disconnected from others, you're showing that meaningful relationships are important to you. When you complain about money, you're expressing that security and freedom matter to you. This is why I want you to start listening to your complaints with new ears. Instead of seeing them as proof that life is difficult, start seeing them as guideposts, showing you what you value, what you desire, and where you want to grow. Your complaints are actually your desires in disguise. Let's do a gentle exercise together. Take a moment to think about your most frequent complaints. What are the things you find yourself talking about or thinking about that frustrate you regularly? Don't judge these complaints, just notice them with curiosity. Now, for each complaint, ask yourself, what am I really wanting here? What would the opposite of this complaint look like? For instance, if you often complain, "I never have enough time," the hidden desire might be, I want to feel peaceful and organized in my daily life. If you complain, people don't listen to me, the desire might be, I want to feel heard and valued. If you complain, I can't lose weight, the desire might be, I want to feel healthy and confident in my body. This shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, you start to see yourself as someone with clear preferences and desires. Instead of feeling powerless, you begin to recognize that you have the ability to create what you want. Sometimes our complaints are also showing us where we need to take responsibility. If you frequently complain about the same things over and over without taking any action to change them, your soul might be calling you to step into your power and make different choices. If you complain about your job but never look for a new one, if you complain about your health but never change your habits, if you complain about loneliness but never reach out to make connections, then your complaints are inviting you to move from victim consciousness to creator consciousness. Other times, our complaints reveal old programming that we inherited from others. If you grew up hearing certain complaints repeatedly, you might have unconsciously adopted them as your own. You might be complaining about things that aren't even really bothering you. You're just repeating patterns you learned. Recognizing this gives you the freedom to choose new patterns that actually reflect your authentic desires. The beautiful thing about this awareness is that it empowers you to transform your relationship with these areas of your life. Instead of feeling stuck in patterns of complaint, you can start to use your dissatisfaction as fuel for positive change. Now let's explore one of the most powerful tools I know for transforming not just how we speak, but how we see ourselves and our lives. This tool is called mirror work, and it might feel a little uncomfortable at first, but I promise you, it has the power to change everything. Mirror work is simply the practice of looking into your own eyes in a mirror and speaking to yourself with love and truth. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most profound healing tools available to us. Why? Because the relationship you have with yourself is the foundation for every other relationship in your life, including your relationship with your circumstances, your challenges, and yes, even your complaints. Here's what I've discovered through decades of working with people. Our external complaints are almost always reflections of our internal complaints about ourselves. When we're constantly criticizing the world around us, we're usually engaging in harsh self-criticism as well. When we complain about others not appreciating us, we probably don't appreciate ourselves. When we complain about lack in our lives, we're often feeling unworthy of abundance. The mirror shows us truth in a way that nothing else can. When you look into your own eyes and speak, you can immediately feel whether your words are loving or harsh, whether they're expanding or contracting, whether they're healing or hurting. The mirror doesn't lie, and it doesn't let you hide from yourself. Most of us have a very difficult relationship with mirrors. We've been trained to look in the mirror to find flaws, to criticize our appearance, to focus on what we want to change about ourselves. But what if the mirror could become a place of love, acceptance, and transformation instead? Let's start with something simple. The next time you're near a mirror, instead of immediately looking for problems or flaws, try looking into your own eyes and saying, "Hello, beautiful soul, I see you." Notice what happens in your body when you do this. Do you feel resistance, discomfort, disbelief? This is normal. Most of us aren't used to speaking to ourselves with kindness. If you find yourself regularly complaining about your appearance, your body, your age, or how you look, mirror work can be especially healing. Stand in front of a mirror, and instead of focusing on what you don't like, try to find something to appreciate. Maybe it's your eyes, your smile, your hands, or simply the fact that your body carries you through life every day. Speak this appreciation out loud. "Thank you, body, for being strong." Or, I love the way my eyes sparkle when I smile. If your complaints tend to be about feeling unworthy or not good enough, try looking in the mirror and saying, I am worthy of love and good things, or I am enough exactly as I am. Your mind might immediately argue with these statements, and that's okay. You're not trying to convince yourself of something that's not true. You're planting seeds of new possibility. For complaints about others not treating you well, try mirror work that focuses on how you treat yourself. Look into your own eyes and ask, how can I treat myself with more kindness today? Or say, I choose to speak to myself the way I want others to speak to me. This is powerful because as you change your internal dialogue, you actually change what you attract from others. If money complaints are frequent for you, try looking in the mirror and saying, I am worthy of abundance, or I trust that my needs are always met. If you complain about not having enough time, try saying, I have all the time I need for what truly matters, or I choose to use my time in ways that bring me joy. The mirror will show you exactly where you have resistance to loving and accepting yourself. This resistance is where your healing work needs to happen. The areas where you feel most uncomfortable speaking kindly to yourself are the areas where your complaints about external circumstances are likely to be strongest. But here's the beautiful thing about mirror work. As you heal your relationship with yourself, your complaints about the world around you naturally begin to dissolve. When you truly love and accept yourself, you stop needing others to validate you, so you stop complaining about not being appreciated. When you feel worthy of good things, you stop complaining about lack because you know how to create abundance. When you treat yourself with kindness, you naturally attract kinder treatment from others. This doesn't happen overnight, and it does require consistency and patience. Start with just a few minutes a day. Look into your own eyes and speak one loving, affirming statement. Notice any resistance without judging it. Be gentle with yourself as you learn this new way of relating to the person in the mirror. Sometimes the mirror will reflect back to you the very complaints you have about yourself. You might hear your inner critic saying the same harsh things you usually think. When this happens, don't fight it. Instead, gently redirect your attention to something kinder. If you hear you look terrible, try shifting to you are learning to see your own beauty. If you hear you never do anything right, try you are doing the best you can, and that's enough. The goal isn't to become perfect or to never have another complaint. The goal is to develop a loving, supportive relationship with yourself so that when challenges arise, you can meet them from a place of strength and self-compassion rather than criticism and victimhood. Now that we've begun to recognize our patterns and started the healing work of relating to ourselves differently, let's explore how to transform the energy of complaint into something that actually serves our highest good. This is where the real magic happens, where we learn to turn our problems into possibilities and our frustrations into fuel for positive change. Every complaint you have is actually a prayer in disguise. It's your soul's way of asking for something different, something better. But most of us have never learned how to translate our complaints into clear, positive intentions. Instead, we get stuck in the problem energy, focusing on what we don't want rather than what we do want. The universe responds to our dominant thoughts and feelings, not our occasional positive affirmations. So if we're spending most of our time focused on complaints, that's the energy we're sending out, and that's what we're likely to receive back. But when we learn to transform complaint energy into intention energy, we become powerful creators of our own experience. Let's start with a simple but powerful shift in language. Instead of saying, I hate my job, try, I am ready for work that fulfills me. Instead of, I never have enough money, try, I am open to receiving abundance in many forms. Instead of, people are so selfish, try, I attract kind, caring people into my life. Do you feel the difference in energy between these statements? The first set contracts and limits. The second set expands and invites. This isn't about denying your real feelings or pretending everything is perfect. It's about directing your energy toward what you want to create rather than what you want to avoid. When you catch yourself complaining, pause and ask, what am I really wanting here? How can I express this as a positive intention? Let's practice this transformation with some common complaints. If you often say, I'm so tired all the time, the underlying desire might be for energy, vitality, and better self-care. You could transform this into, I am learning to care for my body in ways that give me energy and vitality. If you complain, my house is always a mess, you might transform this into, I am creating a peaceful, organized space that nurtures me. The key is to focus on what you want to experience rather than what you want to avoid. Instead of, I don't want to be stressed, try, I choose to feel calm and peaceful. Instead of, I can't stand difficult people, try, I attract harmonious relationships into my life. This shift in focus literally changes the vibration you're sending out into the world. But transformation isn't just about changing your words, it's about changing your relationship with the situations that trigger your complaints. When something happens that would normally cause you to complain, you can learn to see it as an opportunity to practice your new skills, to strengthen your spiritual muscles, to choose a different response. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for transforming complaint energy. But I'm not talking about forced gratitude or pretending to be grateful for things that genuinely hurt you. I'm talking about finding authentic appreciation for the good that exists alongside the challenges. Even in difficult situations, there's usually something to appreciate. Maybe it's your own strength in handling the situation. Maybe it's the support of a friend. Maybe it's simply the fact that you're alive and capable of growing through this experience. When you focus on appreciation, you literally change your brain chemistry. You activate the parts of your nervous system that support healing, creativity, and problem solving. You become more resourceful, more resilient, and more open to solutions. Complaint energy contracts your world. Gratitude energy expands it. Try this practice. For every complaint that arises during your day, challenge yourself to find 3 things to appreciate about your life. This doesn't mean ignoring the complaint. It means balancing it with awareness of what's working, what's beautiful, what's supportive in your experience. This practice trains your brain to notice the full spectrum of your experience rather than just the problems. Another powerful transformation tool is asking better questions. Instead of, why does this always happen to me? Try, what can I learn from this situation? Instead of, why are people so difficult? Try, how can I respond to this with more love? Instead of, why is life so hard? Try, what strength is this situation helping me develop? Better questions lead to better answers and more empowering perspectives. You can also transform complaints into affirmations. If you frequently complain about not feeling appreciated, you might create the affirmation, I appreciate myself and I attract appreciation from others. If you complain about financial stress, try, I am financially free and secure. If you complain about health issues, try, my body is healing and becoming stronger every day. These affirmations redirect your energy toward what you want to create. The practice of solution-focused thinking is another way to transform complaint energy. When you notice yourself focusing on a problem, immediately shift to focusing on solutions. What would you like instead? What steps could you take to improve the situation? What resources do you have available? What would someone who handled this situation well do differently? This shifts you from victim consciousness to creator consciousness. Remember, this transformation takes practice. You've probably been practicing complaint thinking for years, so it's natural that it will take time to develop new neural pathways. Be patient with yourself as you learn. Celebrate small wins. Notice when you catch yourself complaining and redirect your energy. That's a victory worth acknowledging. The most beautiful thing about this work is that as you transform your own complaint energy, you inspire others to do the same. You become a beacon of possibility in a world that often focuses on problems. You show others that there's another way to respond to challenges, another way to think about difficulties, another way to create change in the world. Your mind is like a garden, and just like any garden, it needs daily tending to flourish. The thoughts you think repeatedly become the beliefs that shape your reality, and the words you speak consistently become the experiences you live. This is why creating daily practices to rewire your mind is so essential. These practices don't have to be complicated or time-consuming, but they do need to be consistent. Let's start with how you begin each day, because the first thoughts and words of your morning set the tone for everything that follows. Instead of immediately reaching for your phone to check messages or news, which often fills your mind with other people's problems and complaints, try creating a gentle morning ritual that centers you in love and possibility. When you first open your eyes, before your feet even touch the floor, take 3 deep breaths and silently say to yourself, "Thank you for this new day. I am grateful to be alive." This simple practice immediately shifts your energy from whatever might have been in your dreams to a state of appreciation and presence. You're literally training your mind to start each day with gratitude instead of worry. As you move through your morning routine, pay attention to the words you speak to yourself. Are you complaining about being tired, about how you look, about what you have to do that day? These seemingly small moments of negative self-talk accumulate and shape your entire experience. Instead, try speaking to yourself like you would speak to a beloved friend. Good morning, beautiful. Today is full of possibilities. Thank you, body, for resting and restoring. I wonder what wonderful things will unfold today. Creating a morning gratitude practice can transform your entire relationship with life. Keep a journal by your bed and write down 3 things you're grateful for each morning. They don't have to be big things. Maybe you're grateful for your warm bed, for the sunshine coming through your window, for the fact that you have clean water to drink. This practice trains your brain to look for what's working in your life instead of what's missing. If you're used to starting your day by checking news or social media, consider how this affects your mental state. News is specifically designed to capture attention through drama and problems. Social media often triggers comparison and envy. Starting your day with these inputs is like watering your mental garden with poison and then wondering why nothing beautiful grows. Try replacing this habit with reading something inspiring, listening to uplifting music, or simply sitting quietly with your thoughts. Throughout your day, develop the practice of catching yourself in the act of complaining and gently redirecting your attention. This isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing not to marinate in negativity. When you notice yourself starting to complain, pause and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me feel better or worse? Is this moving me toward what I want or away from it? One powerful technique is what I call the pivot practice. When you catch yourself complaining, immediately pivot to something you appreciate about your current situation. If you're stuck in traffic and feel frustrated, pivot to appreciating that you have a car, that you have somewhere to go, that you have this quiet time to think or listen to music. If you're dealing with a difficult person, pivot to appreciating your own patience, your growth, or the fact that this interaction is teaching you something valuable. The practice of mindful speaking can revolutionize your relationships and your experience of life. Before you speak, especially when you're feeling frustrated or upset, pause and ask yourself, will these words contribute to healing or to harm? Will they move us toward connection or separation? Are they coming from love or from fear? This doesn't mean you can't express your feelings or address problems. It means you do so in a way that opens possibilities rather than closing them. Creating transition rituals throughout your day helps you reset your energy when you move from one activity to another. When you come home from work, instead of immediately launching into complaints about your day, take 5 minutes to sit quietly and consciously leave the energy of work behind. When you're about to interact with family or friends, take a moment to center yourself in love and appreciation for these people in your life. Evening practices are just as important as morning ones. The last thoughts of your day often continue working in your subconscious mind while you sleep. Instead of falling asleep rehearsing problems or worrying about tomorrow, create a practice of reviewing your day for moments of joy, connection, growth, or gratitude. This trains your mind to look for the good in your experiences and helps you sleep more peacefully. Keep a wins journal where you record your daily victories, no matter how small. Maybe you chose not to complain when someone cut you off in traffic. Maybe you redirected a negative conversation to something more positive. Maybe you spoke kindly to yourself when you made a mistake. These small wins accumulate into massive transformations over time. Breathing practices are simple but powerful tools for shifting your state immediately. When you notice complaint energy rising, try this. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, breathe out for 6 counts. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and helps you return to a state of calm and clarity. In this calmer state, you're much more likely to respond to challenges with wisdom rather than reactivity. The practice of loving kindness meditation can help soften the edges of your judgments about others. When you find yourself complaining about someone, try silently sending them loving thoughts. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be free from suffering. This practice doesn't mean you have to like everyone or agree with everyone, but it helps you maintain your own inner peace and prevents you from carrying toxic resentment. Now, let's explore some specific affirmations that can help you break free from the habit of complaining and step into a more empowered way of being. Affirmations are positive statements that help reprogram your subconscious mind, but they're most effective when you understand how to work with them properly. The first thing to understand about affirmations is that they're not about convincing yourself of something that isn't true. They're about planting seeds of new possibility in the fertile soil of your mind. When you first start using affirmations, your mind might resist them or argue with them. This is normal and actually a sign that you're working on something that needs healing. If chronic complaining has been your pattern, try starting with these gentle affirmations. I am learning to see the good in every situation. I choose thoughts that serve my highest good. I am grateful for the opportunity to grow and change. My words have power, and I use them to create beauty in my life. These affirmations acknowledge that you're in a process of change rather than demanding that you believe something your mind isn't ready for. For healing the tendency to complain about others, try these affirmations. I see the best in people while maintaining healthy boundaries. I attract kind, loving people into my life. I am surrounded by love and support. I choose to focus on people's strengths rather than their weaknesses. Other people's behavior is about them, not about me. If work complaints have been challenging for you, these affirmations can help. I am grateful for work that allows me to contribute my gifts. I attract opportunities that align with my highest good. I deserve to be appreciated and compensated fairly. My work is a joyful expression of my talents. I create value wherever I go. For money-related complaints, try, I am worthy of abundance in all forms. Money flows to me easily and frequently. I trust that my needs are always met. I am grateful for all the abundance already in my life. I use money as a tool for good in the world. Health complaints can be transformed with affirmations like, my body is wise and knows how to heal itself. I treat my body with love and respect. Every cell in my body vibrates with health and vitality. I am grateful for my body's strength and resilience. I choose thoughts and foods that nourish my well-being. The key to working with affirmations effectively is consistency and feeling. Say your affirmations daily, preferably looking in the mirror, and try to feel the truth of them in your heart, even if your mind doesn't believe them yet. You're not trying to convince your logical mind. You're speaking directly to your subconscious, which responds to repetition and emotion. When resistance arises to your affirmations, don't fight it. Instead, gently acknowledge the resistance and continue with your positive statements. You might say, I notice my mind is arguing with this affirmation, and that's okay. I'm planting seeds of new possibility. Sometimes it helps to add the phrase, I am willing to believe before your affirmation. I am willing to believe that I deserve abundance. I am willing to believe that people are generally good. Create personalized affirmations based on your specific complaint patterns. If you often complain about not having enough time, your affirmation might be, I have all the time I need for what truly matters. If you frequently complain about feeling unappreciated, try, I appreciate myself, and appreciation flows to me from others. If you complain about feeling stuck, try, I am constantly growing and evolving into my best self. Write your affirmations down and place them where you'll see them regularly, on your bathroom mirror, in your car, on your computer screen. The more you expose your mind to these positive messages, the more they become integrated into your thinking patterns. You can also turn your affirmations into prayers or conversations with the universe. Instead of just stating the affirmation, you might say, Dear Universe, thank you for helping me see the good in every situation. Thank you for surrounding me with love and support. Thank you for guiding me toward thoughts that serve my highest good. This adds an element of surrender and trust that can be very powerful. Remember that affirmations work best when they're combined with aligned action. If you're affirming abundance but continuing to speak about lack, the mixed message weakens the effectiveness. If you're affirming health but continuing to treat your body poorly, you're working against yourself. Affirmations are most powerful when your thoughts, words, and actions are all moving in the same direction. As you continue this beautiful journey of transformation, you're literally writing a new story about who you are and what's possible in your life. The old story might have been about struggle, lack, and disappointment. The new story can be about growth, abundance, and joy. But this rewriting process requires both awareness and intention. Your old story was written by many voices: your family, your culture, your past experiences, your fears, and your wounds. Some of these voices might have told you that life is hard, that you can't trust people, that there's never enough, that you're not worthy of good things. These voices created the mental programming that led to chronic complaining, but now you get to choose which voices you listen to and which story you want to live. Building your new story starts with recognizing that you are the author of your life experience. This doesn't mean you can control everything that happens to you, but it does mean you have complete control over how you interpret what happens, how you respond to it, and what meaning you assign to it. Two people can have identical experiences and create completely different stories about what those experiences mean. In your new story, challenges become opportunities for growth. Difficult people become teachers who help you develop patience and compassion. Setbacks become redirections towards something better. Endings become beginnings. This isn't about being naive or ignoring real problems. It's about choosing to see yourself as resilient, capable, and supported, rather than as a victim of circumstances. Your new story acknowledges that you're not perfect, but it emphasizes your willingness to grow and learn. It recognizes that you've made mistakes, but it focuses on your capacity for healing and forgiveness. It admits that life can be challenging, but it celebrates your strength and wisdom. In this new story, you're not someone things happen to. You're someone who actively participates in creating your experience. One of the most important elements of your new story is changing your relationship with other people. In the old story, people might have been sources of disappointment, frustration, or pain. In the new story, people become mirrors reflecting back your own growth. Kind people show you your own kindness. Challenging people show you where you still need to develop patience or boundaries. Everyone becomes a character in your story who's there to help you become your most authentic, loving self. When other people around you are still stuck in complaint patterns, your new story helps you maintain your own positive energy without being pulled down into their negativity. You can listen with compassion without absorbing their problems as your own. You can offer support without taking responsibility for fixing their lives. You can love people while still choosing to protect your own mental and emotional well-being. Your new story also includes a different relationship with material circumstances. Instead of your happiness depending on external conditions being perfect, your well-being comes from your inner connection to love, purpose, and growth. This doesn't mean you don't want nice things or comfortable circumstances. It means your peace isn't dependent on them. You can enjoy abundance when it comes and remain centered when it doesn't. Building resilience becomes a key theme in your new story. Instead of seeing yourself as fragile or easily overwhelmed, you recognize your incredible capacity to handle whatever life brings. You've survived everything that's happened to you so far, and that's evidence of your strength. Each challenge you faced has contributed to your wisdom and compassion. In your new story, you're also committed to using your experiences to help others. Your struggles haven't been meaningless. They've prepared you to offer understanding and support to people facing similar challenges. Your healing journey becomes a gift you can share with the world. Creating this new story requires daily choice and commitment. Every morning, you choose which story you're going to live that day. Every time you're faced with a challenge, you choose how that challenge fits into your story of growth and empowerment. Every interaction with others becomes an opportunity to practice living from your new story. Write down elements of your new story. Who are you in this story? What do you value? How do you handle difficulties? What brings you joy? What kind of impact do you want to have on others? How do you want to be remembered? This written vision becomes a guide for your daily choices and helps you stay aligned with the person you're becoming. And now, dear one, we come to the most beautiful part of this journey, recognizing that every moment offers you a fresh beginning. You don't have to wait until you've completely transformed all your patterns to start living differently. You don't have to be perfect to begin choosing love over fear, possibility over limitation, gratitude over complaint. This moment right now is your opportunity to step into the most empowered, loving version of yourself. I want you to take a deep breath and feel the truth of what I'm about to share with you. You have everything within you that you need to create a life filled with joy, love, and abundance. The power to transform your experience doesn't exist somewhere outside of you. It lives within you, in every thought you choose, every word you speak, every action you take. The complaints that once felt so automatic, so necessary, so justified, they were never really about the external circumstances. They were about the relationship you had with yourself and with life itself. As you heal that relationship, as you learn to speak to yourself and about your life with love and appreciation, everything else begins to shift in the most beautiful ways. You might notice that people respond to you differently when you're not carrying the energy of complaint. You might find that opportunities appear more easily when you're focused on possibilities rather than problems. You might discover that your body feels lighter, your mind feels clearer, and your heart feels more open. These aren't coincidences. They're the natural result of aligning your inner world with love and appreciation. But perhaps most importantly, you'll begin to like yourself more. You'll enjoy your own company. You'll trust your own wisdom. You'll appreciate your own journey. And from this foundation of self-love and self-acceptance, you'll naturally attract experiences and relationships that reflect back to you the love you're cultivating within. This doesn't mean your life will become perfect or free from challenges. It means you'll meet those challenges from a place of strength, wisdom, and inner peace. You'll see problems as temporary and solvable rather than as evidence that life is against you. You'll trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. The ripple effects of your transformation will extend far beyond your own life. As you stop complaining and start appreciating, you give others permission to do the same. As you choose love over fear, you become a beacon of possibility in a world that desperately needs more light. Your healing becomes a gift to everyone whose life you touch. Remember, this is not about being perfect. This is about being conscious. This is about choosing moment by moment to align with love rather than fear, with appreciation rather than complaint, with possibility rather than limitation. Every time you catch yourself and choose differently, you're rewiring your brain and rewriting your story. I want to leave you with one final affirmation, one that I invite you to carry in your heart and speak with conviction. I am a powerful creator of my own experience. I choose thoughts that serve my highest good. I speak words that heal and inspire. I am grateful for this precious life, and I use it to spread love wherever I go. I am worthy of all good things, and I allow them to flow to me easily and naturally. And so it is. You are so loved, so supported, so worthy of every good thing life has to offer. Trust in your own healing process. Be patient with yourself as you grow. Celebrate every small step forward, and know that with each passing day, you're becoming more and more of who you truly are, a radiant being of love and light, here to contribute your unique gifts to the world. Your new life is beginning right now. Welcome it with open arms and an open heart. You've got this, beautiful soul. You've absolutely got this.